where the successful product come. We have got a series of announcements of Indian product coming with a great concept, but they all struggle a long route to come with this particular iteration. And iteration requires three things. I'll not go for the definition. Please leave it. Yeah, please. Please, again, skip up. Leave the definition. Please go ahead. Iteration requires what? Money. Funds for iteration. You have to make not one prototype. There is nothing like a first time right. There is a first time fast. Right? You have to making a number of prototypes again and again. You require funds, plus you require something much more than that. Please come. Right. What you need is an access to the technical capabilities. Right? So the technical capabilities, technical mentors are badly needed so as to improve the product technically. India today, there is no shortage of business mentors. I think the business mentors are more than the startups in the country today. Right? But the technology-based competence, technical mentors who can really solve a technical problem, solve a design, improve the product, I can count them on fingers. Technical mentors are in terrific short supply in the country. They are available in only very few places like IIT Mumbai and the New Sciences. Very few. This is a group which needs to be groomed. I have seen many innovations which are started well in India, but overtaken by the other innovations in Silicon Valley and other places, because there is a technical guy who is able to help them to do a better engineering, better design, faster design. Right? That is what is the thing required. So I first say technical mentor. So when I was in government, I called the word technology angel. I said the business angel is not angel. Some people call him a devil. I do not call him devil. But a technology angel is a real angel because he is contributing to the success of the startup by providing a technical inputs. Again, I repeat, the technical inputs are short supply in the country. Right. Then other one is basically the facilities. Where are the facilities? You require facilities. So I am calling it a commercially valuable public knowledge. Just again trying to make a hybrid version of the technology with the academic part of it. We have a lot of public knowledge which is a common knowledge. A common knowledge is not going to provide a competitive advantage. You require something commercially competent, commercially valuable public knowledge. Again, the repository is very small in the country. The other part of it is that, please come, facilities. You require a commercially competitive facilities. You cannot make a prototype using the traditional fabrication. Today, all the startups, they start around the country saying that please fabricate this particular thing. And the guy who is not really competitive to manufacture something, he'll make something for you. Right? You require a very competitive facilities to manufacture a competitive product. Just to take the case of medical devices, I know many people struggling to make a medical devices. Where do they make it? You don't have approved facilities. The guy with approved facilities will not accept a startup to make 10 pieces. You require 10 pieces, 1 piece is like that. You require a commercially competent facilities. So my pitch is that for a product startup, you require grants, because they are the proof of grants. They are not venture capital funds. This the government grant only will be able to give the proof of concept grants. It's not a loan, it's not an equity, it is something to write off, because it's giving freedom to the innovator to think of something like that, right? The grants are absolutely essential for any product startup. Second, he has to have access to publicly, commercially viable public knowledge. So some technical expertise is to be having access to that. Then he'll be able to solve the technical problem. Third, he can make a prototype not in a garage. Garage, again, Indian philosophy is something. When they talk about a garage in Silicon Valley is much more better equipped than the IITs here. So it's not one and the same. So Indian garage is a very bad garage. You cannot make it in Indian garage a product. So we're catching some words from Silicon Valley and throwing them away. Right? We need a high quality facilities in India to make a prototype. Right? With these three things, I'm sure with Arora ji and my friend this here, I think it is possible. Today we have got a culture, we got ecosystem, we got a lot of excitement among the startups, and there is a desperate need for a product startup. And the Niti Committee report has come. Niti Committee report said out of the 1,000 crores, 500 crores will be given to the tinkering labs. I sincerely hope this 500 crores will go as a tinkering lab to the academic institutions, so that people get an opportunity, the students get an opportunity to know what is the meaning of tinkering, right? So this is what is the concept changing. I hope the recommendation will come. The other recommendation that money of 500 crores will be going as a ideation challenges is a great one. My suggestion is that please link the ideation challenge with the base. Qualcomm runs the ideation challenge for what they know about. Intel runs the ideation challenge for what they know about. You give the money for an ideation challenge for an organization which has got a competence in the technology. So you can help them in the design and they can help them in production. Give that money to them, then your 50 crores, what the premise is going to do wonders. So thank you all.
What's the feeling that you get because you run the India events for the years? So what's your feeling?
Talent and ideation, they are not one and the same. Right? Again, we have a huge talent. It doesn't mean we'll come with the better ideas. Right? It's all one and the same. Right? There is always a market for the talent. The people with the talent are going for the market where there is a demand for the talent. Okay. The people with ideas, again, why should you look for a new idea? I am advising and advocating product innovations. It doesn't mean that is the best opportunity area. Commercially speaking, if anyone advising me and anyone approaching me, I tell them don't do something unless you are a hard guy. So the best and the soft option, easy option is always go for a standard e-commerce or whatever the particular thing. What do you say? The entrepreneur opportunity exploiting a generic technology. That is the big business line in the country. Not only in another country, in the entire world, it's a big business line. The Russian guy has started a big incubator based on the thing. A business model is proven, right? And there is an untapped market for the particular thing. So no risk attached, and exploit the opportunity with the entrepreneur energy. I think that is the right business model. I'm not seeing anything on this particular. Along with this 10,000 ideas of a proven business model, exploiting a known business opportunity, there should be 10 who are daring to dream beyond that. So, the 10 is required because India is an aspiring nation. I'm saying it is required for every nation. It's not required at all. We are a huge nation with an aspiring nation. So, we want to have something. India is thinking big. So, naturally, because India is India, we need to have some other products which are basically will be proud of, sold as a branded, made in India, design in India, IP in India products in the global market. I'm not seeing any depth of ideas. The students are phenomenal. Every day, so many students come to us. So, there's no shortage of students, there's no shortage of entrepreneurs. Startup ecosystem, I think today is really matured. I think it's all thriving. It's all doing well. So, I have no negative views on the current system. System is doing exceptionally well. I'm very happy with what things are happening.
Also, any action point you would like to recommend
again, it's good to be nostalgic, but I think the proof of concept grant, there is a room, and you cannot wish away the proof of concept grant. See, in US, why SIBRI is there? Other than SIBRI also, because of the liberal funding by those particular government, various government departments, the academic institutions, the stock of public knowledge has grown tremendously. Because the stock of public knowledge accessible to the people in the network is phenomenal, you do not require a small amount of a grant to experiment. Because they did the experiment in the school days. Since we are not giving money to the people to do any experimentation, the school days, college days, PG stage, or PhD stage, you have to provide them some opportunity in the beginning of things. So proof of concept grants are absolutely essential to bring the volume. You require, we have got something like 3 lakh colleges. I think every college should have at least one grant so that you require 1 lakh proof of concepts. Then ultimately the pyramid will go.
So, the new version of TAP, like Prism is not serving also.
I
Going to a
really-
minuscule extent, this.
I have no idea, but it should be liberated. It should be liberated. I understand. It's not moving the way it is expected because it serves a purpose, but it needs to be liberated because it is the starting point of the thing. And then giving it has to be several fold because that has to be the largest numbers they give. So proof of concept. And then the systems, the research grants. When we are giving DST is giving one arm of research grants is coming from DST to the academic institution. Other arm of DST is giving grants to the incubator. There is no connectivity. Suppose an academic proposes saying that this incubator needs a design improvement. I'll take it as a research project. I am sure that particular board will say nothing doing. There is nothing state of art in this particular thing. So what this guy has to do? He has to run around all the places where there is no grant available for him to do the research. So there's some sort of a, what we say, this is a targeted research or something focused research, a research which is solving a practical problem of an incubator or a startup, should also be made eligible for the research grants by the DST, DEAT, other grants. Then we'll be able to bridge this particular technology gap in productization.
I would also like to highlight wherever there's a sort of a disconnect between the incubator and the academic community where it is hosted. So there has to be, you highlighted the need of technical mentors. So there's sort of disconnect. It's only happening in some IITs or institute of some NITs, but in other institutions there's a lot of needs to be done. And something like Kerala-like policy where students are also given credits for engaging in the ideation, creativity and startup activity will go a long way in building that sort of a culture and mindset at the academic level.
The question Bhakji asked in the initial, I would like to add from my perspective. When we are talking about the ideas are being evaluated by an institution or in a group of people who do not have the competency level of either design or engineering or a production or a business. Mostly they are academicians in nature. So my advice is the Power of Ideas kind of a program has to be evaluated or proof of concept has to be supported by the people who are in the industry. They understand the product better. They know whether it can be manufactured or it can be get into the business. So that's what I would like to add, rather than trying to send out to the people who are having positions in institutions, or maybe some of them are head of the incubators, but may not really have the ability or knowledge of specific domain or business potential. Thanks.
Yeah, my question is to Dr. Rao. We see that our Indian children are doing very well in Intel science fairs and they win various contests in the global level. And at the same time, we also see that we don't have products which are this thing. Where from between the education to the product development, where are we really faltering?
Intel science exhibition, there will be many Indian students,
Yes.
there will be many Chinese students, there will be also Japanese students. Ultimately, when Intel gives a grant to the PG level student, there will be Japanese student, there will be German students, there will be American students, there will be no Indian student. So something happens by the student, the student graduates from the school to the UG or PG level. In America, it's less pronounced. In India, it's a terrific valley of death. I think valley of death also exists in the colleges. So they travel through the valley of death in the creativity sphere when they go through the UG and PG.
In fact, there was a very article by Shamal Majumdar in Business Standard called The Crisis in Engineering Education, where they conducted a survey among not an IIT but a second-rung engineering college, and in the second year, 95% of the students said that they don't want to do a job in engineering.
Incubator labs for the pharma or biotech companies. A very valid point raised by Dr. Rao was the question of scalability. Many companies, they have proof of concepts, but when you want to take a molecule from a lab to a phase 1, phase 2 facility, they have to scout for manufacturing facilities. And I don't know of many facilities where a innovator can go and manufacture a product, because before he doses into animal, he has to go to a company. Many times they end up having a partnership with someone and losing the innovation or giving away the equity. So is the government looking for any of those options where there is a pilot plant or a manufacturing facility up to the regulatory constraints, the regulatory market? Because you cannot go to a just a garage in Dr. Rao's language and manufacture at least a product which would be dosed to a human.
This particular domain, DBT is the lead player.
Okay.
Department of Biotechnology through BIRAC, which was already highlighted, and their big ignition grant. So biotechnology ignition grant. So these are the DBT is focusing a lot on and helping. Various phases of grants are available under DBT.
No, I think what I am suggesting is maybe the government should set up a plant. I know of one of such plant in Alexandria Knowledge Park. But the bottleneck is they set up the equipment. They give the money. Now there is no one who operates the plant.
The recommendation made by the DST has done a project on innovation clusters. We specifically did it in pharma, right? And then this disconnect is there. So one of the recommendations, which was also accepted, I hope will be implemented soon, is that why not to convert some of the pilot plant facilities as wet lease facilities? So let me take an example. If IACT has got a lab, it has got a pilot plant, it has got a people operating this particular thing, it will be something like a wet lease facility where innovators and the researchers will walk through. So they bring something and go through. So it is a manpower is all true. It's all everything. You give everything as a single package. You come. But then the question, the recommendation, if I specifically remember that, if we say this, for scientists, this is not a walkthrough, it is a walk-in. And for the outsiders, you require a permission, it doesn't work out. We said you have to make it a self-independent PPP model. What are the model? It's independent. So that when the researcher who is funded by government has to go through the same process, a person who is coming from Ready Labs also has to go through the same process, then only the process will be simplified enough to be acceptable to the community. As I said, India is not short of recommendations. So this also has been recommended. And I also against it. One day someone is going to accept this particular recommendation. You'll have a walkthrough facility, because we have got many research facilities and we have got many pilot plants which are lying unutilized, because it's not convenient for the people to come, because the gate posts and onwards, you cannot really start with the security to do a research, right? That's what is the current fate of it. But I'm sure that things will improve.
Thank you. Yeah, so I work in IKP Knowledge Park. IKP Knowledge Park, if you
we'll start the next session too. May I call upon stage Dr. Balasubramania, Mr. Kiran Betadapur, Shri Pradosh Nath, and Mr. Anuj Pulshta on stage. Many of the people are very well known, but let me just give a brief introduction. Dr. Balasubramania is a professor and chairman with the Department of Management Studies at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Mr. Kiran Betadapur is an advocate, Bar Council of India, and is an angel investor. He invests in startups. Dr. Pradosh Nath has had a distinguished career in CSIR and is presently with NIDS. It's an organization which works in this space. And Mr. Anuj is a co-founder of 91 Springboards, which was also mentioned by, I think, Dr. Gupta in her presentation as one of the incubation centers in the private space. So we'll start with Dr. Balasubramania with your presentations.
Centers for this workshop. My presentation is on the ecosystem for startups in Bangalore, an empirical perspective. But I'm actually providing an academician's perspective, partly based on literature understanding and partly based on the findings that we have gathered based on about 40 interviews that we have conducted in Bangalore. So this is a byproduct of a research project undertaken by me and my colleague Dr. Balchandra, who is there at the Department of Management Studies, Indian Institute of Science. Now, at the outset, I would like to bring to a kind attention that I am a startup researcher in the field of startups. Therefore, if I am communicating the obvious, please pardon me and bear with me for about 15 minutes. Next. So we all know that technology entrepreneurship contributing to high growth, high-tech startups is emerging all over the world. And this is primarily because the ecosystem which nurtures and encourages the emergence of these startups is spreading all over. This is because, you see, till recently the ecosystem was primarily talked in the context of Silicon Valley and Boston area in the US, but more recently it has started flowering all over the world. Now the issue is why startups are important and why should we look at a startup ecosystem. Now startups are important because my argument is they have a high economic value. Now their high economic value is largely confined to their ability to accelerate the rate of economic transformation in a country away from agriculture towards industry and services. This is one thing. Then they also contribute to employment. They contribute to the sustainability of or promotion of innovation. They promote productivity. Now all these will ultimately result in their enhanced contribution to gross domestic product, manufacturing value added, employment, and exports. Now this is important, particularly in the Indian context, because these are the four macroeconomic variables, that is GDP, MVA, employment and exports are the four macroeconomic variables which any policymaker would like to prop up any point of time. Now in the Indian context, I would say that if economic reforms have miserably failed in producing desired results from a nation's point of view in any one country,